Hey everyone, Dr. Alex Ritza here, downtown Toronto neurostructural chiropractor. Started off with some technical difficulties with the iPad following. But today what we're going to talk about is part of our reset curriculum, and we're talking about deep sleep today and how you can get the best night sleep of your life every single night. So I think it's probably one of the most universal complaints that people have that come to see us about how poor their sleep is. And there's a whole host of reasons about why this happens and why people have poor sleep. A big part of it can be core problems in your spine and nervous system, interfering with the brain-body connection, which affects your health in some ways that you know of, i.e. sleep, and some ways that we have no idea about. So that's why we test for core problems in the spine and nervous system to make sure that that is not your sleep issue. So a big thing with sleep, I actually like to relate back to golf, and you don't have to be a golfer to get this analogy, but if you think about golf, it is probably one of the most predictable sports in terms of what the athletes have to do every single time. They're not being thrown different pitches, there's not a lot of moving variables in terms of other players on the court. You know, they walk up to the ball looks the same every time, and the only thing that might change is the lie, which they can account for, and maybe the weather. But otherwise, it's about repeating the same habit over and over again. And if they can repeat the same habit, they'll be successful. And, you know, these players have done this habit of the swing so many times that the only thing that really differs between, you know, athletes on a particular day or within a player's career, a lot of time is their mindset. And if they're able to repeat their mindset with every swing and make sure their mindset's optimal, they'll usually play their best. And you'll talk about guys that are just in the flow or just, you know, they were feeling it that day. And those are mental descriptions that support why they've been successful. And a big part of a golfer's success is their pre-shot routine, you know, where they walk up to their bag, they tap their bag, they grab the club, they visualize the shot, and that's putting their brain into this Pavlovian circle where they know that when they put on their glove or they tap their bag, that it's game time, and they want to get themselves in the right mindset to reproduce that shot. And almost every single professional golfer in the world does that because it works really effectively. So when we talk with practice members that have poor sleep, one of the universal things that they don't do is they don't have this pre-shot or this pre-sleep routine. And we know that deep sleep is a requirement for health. You have to regenerate and reset the body, and you're going to read more about that in our reset curriculum when it comes out. But one of the big things that we try to instill is a pre-sleep routine to get your body and your mind in the right setting. And so I like to think about it like you start your day in this red chunk, and your day, if it's anything like mine, is high energy, go, 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 usually from start to finish. Well, I, of course, add a couple breaks in there, which we'll talk about more in the reset curriculum, but most days, you're high energy. And if you want to get to Sleepy Town, then you have to do the opposite. You have to get a slowing of your body and your mind where the energy level, both physically and consciously, really has to come down. So we have to go from high energy to Sleepy Town, and we have to do that in, I think, a ritualized way. So a lot of people, you know, they go straight from work, dinner, kids, social media, or more work, and then they try to hop into bed. And to go from high energy to that instantaneously is almost near impossible, unless, you know, you supplement it with drugs or alcohol or something else to try and get the body going in that direction. But you can guess my thoughts on that. So in terms of a pre-sleep ritual, what we want to do is we want to have something in English that slows down the mind and slows down the body in a ritualized way that prepares it for sleep. So to prepare for sleep, we want to do a couple things. We want to make sure that our light level is really low. That works with the natural circadian rhythm of the body, kind of like how, you know, prior to artificial light, the sun would set and people would naturally go to sleep. This is what we've evolved to do, and that's what our brain responds best to, so low light. We want to have things a little bit cooler. Circadian rhythm also responds well to a cooling of temperatures, signals that night is upon us and it's time for sleep. We want to have a little bit less movement. If anyone's ever played a hockey game or gone cycling before trying to go to bed, doesn't work too well. Pavlov, we want to make sure that we're making things as ritualized and repeated as possible so our brain gets the idea that when we do certain things, it's ready and prepared to go to sleep. And then we want to have no electronics. So this relates back to the light exposure, or blue light, but also back to things that can stimulate our mind, stimulates our thoughts, in some cases make us excited, anxious, or angry. And if it's the news and Facebook, there's a lot of that lately. So we are big proponents of no electronics before bed. So when you're trying to build a pre-bedtime routine or a pre-bedtime ritual, I always think of it as you need to start, a middle, and an end. And so like a golfer's pre-shot routine, I think you should always start with the same action. And so for us in our home, in our family, that's turning off of any electronics and turning down the lights. And so that signals to us that we're entering into this pre-bed routine. It's time for the body and the mind to slow down, and we're about to, prepare ourselves to go to bed. And that's where the brain's gonna be like, okay, lights are going down, TV's off, I'm gonna prepare myself now. And if you do it enough, it'll get the hang of it. And then part of your also start could be, brushing your teeth or doing something. For us, that's more towards the middle. After we've turned down the lights and the electronics are off, you can brush your teeth, you can put on your jammies, you can do whatever you like to do in order to get yourself ready for bed. And then a big part of the middle that we really recommend at the office is reading. So it doesn't have to be reading, but anything where the body's going to be slowed with less movement and not too active, and you're going to be able to slow the mind down and prepare it for sleep. That's something that I think should fill up that middle chunk of your pre-sleep routine. So some options are reading a book. Fiction is usually better than nonfiction, especially if it's self-help, because again, that might get the brain going on full speed. You can read, you can practice some meditation, you can sit there and stare at the paint, you can have a conversation with your partner, you can, again, read a book, but anything that is not using electronics and that is not involving a lot of movement or light exposure. And then with respect to the end, I think the end works best, again, to try to ritualize the sleep pattern with a particular landmark. And that might be, you go into the bedroom, or you pull down the sheets, or you put earplugs in, and that's something to signal that this is kind of the end of your ritual and it's sleep time. So I really like the idea of earplugs. You've gone in, you lied in bed, put the earplugs in, signaling to your brain that, okay, I'm relaxed now, my body's calm, my mind energy is low, it's ready to go to bed. And your body will get that. And this is something, just like a golfer's pre-shot routine, it can take weeks or even months to instill this ritual so that your brain is used to the pattern, used to the habit. But I can almost guarantee you that when you get this habit down, it is the best way to make your sleep consistent. No medication, no supplement is going to give you the lower energy of your body and mind that it needs to get great sleep. I think this is the absolute best way. And you can see here I've written down a backup plan below the Z's. So even when you do your ritual, and especially earlier in the process, you might find that the ritual is not getting you right to the sleep phase that you want, or not falling asleep as easy as you want. You're tossing and turning in bed. So if that's happening, the backup plan is usually to go back to the start and start it all over again. And this is where, your pre-bed ritual, if it's in the 15 to 30 minute range, is really, really good, because then you can go back to the start, make sure the lights are low, you go back and you read or you meditate or you practice your breathing or do some very, very, very gentle stretching, and then you slowly work towards falling asleep. And when your body and your brain is ready, it will naturally happen. So this is just one part of getting deep sleep, is this pre-bed ritual. There's 3 or 4 other components that we're going to be talking about in our Reset curriculum, a new ebook that we're releasing for our practice members and our followers on social media. It's about 40-45 pages. It's a lot of writing, but there's a lot of really great content in there that Reset is all about: energy management and making sure that you are giving your body the rest and regeneration that it needs in order to be healthy. If you have any questions about this, please feel free to direct message us on Facebook or Instagram. Or if you're looking to get in and see if a core problem in your spine and nervous system might actually be contributing to some of your poor sleep, you can just call our office. This was another Lunch and Learn TV with me, Dr. Alex, neurostructural chiropractor, and I hope you have a great night's rest tonight. Take care.